Welcome, everybody, to the half. I'm your host, Matthew Long. Today is February 3rd. Thank God it's Friday. And tonight's show is all Super Bowl. I know a few of you over on Spreaker weren't able to hear the show from yesterday. Thursday's show will be uploaded. It will be available on Spreaker, TuneIn, Sono, iTunes, yada, 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 everywhere we're at. So you can see here we got a little bit of new graphics and stuff in the background. So be able to go check out what we have going on here in the background. For sure. Again, to follow the show to the half, follow myself at Matt Long Sports. Head over to the website, thechtonsports.com. The listen link over there is where you're going to be able to hear all episodes of To the Half, our daily show, which we have on the Go Long Media channel on Blog Talk Radio, as well as the Cold Hard Truth on Sports radio show. It's every Tuesday, which I host with my co-host Kevin Crest. And Wednesday we have CMT Firestorm. Again, that's going to get a makeover here pretty soon, so that name's going to change. And on Sunday from 7:30 to 9:30, probably not this Sunday though, because it's the Super Bowl. So it'll probably either be tomorrow or Monday. For the Boxing Source, hosted by James Bell. I got my Puerto Rico shirt on tonight. Want to rep a little bit. For the year or so I lived out in Puerto Rico, was able to cover boxing and learn quite a bit from out there. And tonight, one of the shining stars who has recovered from a motorcycle accident, Felix El Diamante Verdejo, will be fighting tonight. I don't know. I don't know if it's such a tough fight for him. I don't see him losing this fight. But I'm not going to get into boxing. We'll cover that more on Tuesday. Tonight's show is all Super Bowl. All Super Bowl. I'm going to give my breakdown from team to team. Talk a little bit about the betting lines. Most people aren't putting their bets until around 3 o'clock on Sunday. That's usually when we start to see the lines start to move. To this point, we haven't really seen that so much. So I'll get into that tonight as well. No, I'm not a big gambler. I'm not an odds maker. I'm not a bookie. I'm not anybody that pretends to be some sort of phenomenal gambler. I just do my research. That's all. Pretty straightforward. So we're getting ready for Super Bowl 51, which is Sunday, February 5th. The coverage starts at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. on Fox is when the coverage starts. So I told my wife, see that? 2 p.m. I'm off. I'm out of commission at that point. And she's like, does the game start at 2? I'm like, no. When's the game start? Whenever it starts. Sometime after Luke Bryan sings, and sometime before Lady Gaga puts on her performance, which what I understand is she wants to give the performance from the roof, because the stage, center field, is not enough, so she wants to go to the roof. Michael Jackson-esque there. What was it from I think it was from, he did a performance, his Super Bowl performance was on one of the jumbo screens over an end zone, if I'm not mistaken. Let's Bring it down where everybody can see you. When you're doing one of these numbers, to watch the halftime show, you may not be in the best line of sight for everyone, but they're artists. Who expected them to stay in line? Oh, yeah, this is all right here. See the photo up there? That's from the press conference from one of the major fights that I covered in Puerto Rico. This guy right here, Felix Verdejo. So, anyways, a little bit of background stuff. I know I've been getting asked a little bit about the background stuff. So, I keep a few of my credentials I've gotten from. I got the national championship game and the Shrine Bowl here. This particular one, again, YouTube Live is the only one that can see this, so I'll keep it quick. This one over here is just a picture of me and Bucks cheerleaders, but it was at Saints game. Saints game 2 years ago. Covered the Saints. I covered the Bears game. My kids got this for Father's Day, and then you see, and this is I got a couple of the first two articles that I wrote for the ESPN affiliate here in Tampa, 620 WDAE. I wrote a couple articles for the website. The first two I wrote, I had them framed and put up. So it just reminds me that you put in work, you're going to get there. I think there's three things that make people successful: passion, attitude, work ethic. That's really what it is. You have those things, you're going to get there. So, all right, getting into the Super Bowl talk, as we know, New England Patriots won their game, pretty one-sided, and Atlanta Falcons won their championship game, conference championship game, pretty one-sided as well. Now, usually coming into games like this, the teams that come in when the line is at 3, I know the odds makers don't really like a line at 3. For the simple fact is there's so many things that could happen in the game that could get to the 3. It's a field goal, or a return field goal, it could just change everything. Millions and millions of dollars are riding on it. So that's why you see the big guys, the wise guys and the sharks usually place their bet on Sunday just hours before the game. A lot of people I've talked to that are into that are gamblers, usually around 3 or 4 o'clock. They'll get their bets in either in Vegas or online or something. I don't know, wherever they put their bets in at. I don't know. I've never submitted a bet. Yeah, you're funny. Yeah. No, I get you. I'm here talking about gambling, but I'm not a gambler. I've never submitted a bet. But here's the thing. I'll explain you this. I've never played in the NFL, but I'm also talking about the Super Bowl. Surprise? Yeah. You don't have to do it to talk about it or have an opinion. You do enough research, football. You can give something. I'm going to give you guys 30 or so minutes tonight of Super Bowl coverage before the Super Bowl. No, I didn't go to Houston this year. Putting in the credentials was a little bit late. Credential request was a little bit late. Plus, the Super Bowl is always a tight event as it is. It's kind of one of those crazy events where you could get credentials for media events, but not the game. Or what they do is they'll give you game credentials, but certain number of people actually will get to go to the press or to the sideline or the press box, the sideline or something like that, and others get put in a holding area. basically from the lounge. You watch the game from the lounge. The media lounge is usually what it is. Or they'll have an offsite facility they set televisions up at. That's usually easily accessible if you're allowed to go to the presser afterwards. So it all depends how they have things set up. So I'm going to start off with the New England Patriots. The Patriots staff are very much scheme people. And I've talked to a lot of coaches and players and stuff like that. What they do is remarkable in and of itself because they're able to change and give you a completely different look almost every time you see them, from the way they're going to run the offense to schematics of the defense to, you know, what they're running on special teams. You're not getting the same thing. There isn't a pattern you necessarily see with them. You don't see so many tendencies. It's much more randomized in a calculated sort of way. So it's not, and they get players that buy into what they're doing. This is why you have guys on their roster that you'll see them playing in the regular season, have a couple good games, and then they've kind of disappeared a little bit. Even LeGarrette Blount, who has probably been their most consistent runner coming in, he has even, there's been games where, you know, he's been hurt. There's nothing really in the rule book. I mean, how do you prove a sprain? Sometimes you can't. You know, sometimes you don't get the MRI, it just hurts. I feel sore. Soreness could be lower body injury, and that's what's reported. Maybe he has nothing. That's the thing. But James White has been the guy that has probably put in a good amount of games this season. We've seen a lot from, which has put the Patriots in a situation where you're not seeing the same rushing totals that you would see out of some of their other backs. Maybe they're more dynamic backs. Their leading rusher by far is LeGarrette Blount, like I said. James White has been playing, I would say, more frequently as of late, but the productivity out of him hasn't been something that's tremendous. I mean, he has 166 yards on the season, but that's what they've kind of shown. Now, Dion Lewis is their true running back. He's their number 2 guy that they like to flash in there. Blunt's their feature back, and when they have all 3 of those running backs in tandem, it really does create a lot of different dynamics and angles that they can display any given week. The Patriots in this game, and here's my bold prediction. A lot's talk about Atlanta, and I will talk a little bit about Atlanta. And there's, you know, their entourage. If you were going to place a bet, one of those side bets, I would bet the New England Patriots have more rushing yards than the Atlanta Falcons. Sounds pretty crazy. but it's not so much. All right. Blunson, he's over 1,000 yards in rushing. The other two backs that they have, Deion Lewis and James White, complementary backs. Call them third down backs, scat backs, whatever you want to call them. They work in tandem with him. He's their bruiser. He can take it every down. He can punch it in at the goal line. So he's there. He's their dependable guy. But Deion Lewis is kind of their wild card that they can throw in here at the end. He's able to follow blocks. He got some a little bit more speed, so he can catch out of the backfield. So he's kind of a little dynamic that the defense is going to have to look for. So I'm going to say rushing yards. I'm going to give that total stat to the New England Patriots. They will have more rushing yards than the Atlanta Falcons. As far as receiving goes, the Atlanta defense has 3 rookies that start and 1 other one that plays pretty regularly. So it's not a surprise that they're going to take, at times, they're going to try to take the top off the defense. They're going to run to get him in, to get the deep pass. Again, New England doesn't have any burners. They don't have anybody. They don't have an Antonio Brown. By the way, from what my sources have told me, I know there's been a lot of talk of they're going to get rid of him. They may. Who knows? But from what I've been told, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Antonio Brown are working out a long-term extension, which could be done before training camp. So, a little bit of news there. But the Patriots don't have anybody like him. I mean, Michael Floyd is probably the closest they get there. They don't have guys that are super speed guys that are just going to take the top off like that. Julian Edelman by far is their number 1 receiver. Chris Hogan, he's a tremendous athlete, and he's had some big games. Chris Hogan has. So we'll see where he fits in this game. He's another one you're going to look at. Malcolm Mitchell is another guy that they've been able to find in places. Now, Martellus Bennett is going to be their red zone threat guy. He's by far, he has size, strength. He can go up and get the ball. He's that guy. They're probably going to try to utilize him over the field more, and they're probably going to go more 3 and 4 sets. They like to introduce 2 tight ends or spread out the field a bit more. Hold linebackers accountable to covering and try to create mismatches, rub routes, stuff like that. New England does that pretty well. Tom's probably going to go into audibles. He's going to do a lot, just like he did with Pittsburgh. He's going to try to lure in those safeties. If he can lure in those safeties to try to bite on the run, that you're going to have, Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan, Michael Floyd. They're going to have guys there. They'll be on a post. So we'll look to see what they do. New England mixes it up really well. They do a great job of not doing one thing. They're not a very one-sided team at all. I know people don't think of them as a running team, but they definitely can put it on the ground and they can run. With LeGarrette Blount, he's a big, strong runner. He's athletic. He has some deceptive speed. and mobility with his athleticism. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a good amount of carries in this game. Expect to see Dion Lewis in a healthy dose as well. And, White's going to be sprinkled in there as well. So let's look to see. We might even see Chris Hogan or Julian Edelman on some sort of run plays, flea flickers, or somehow get them involved. Again, two former college quarterbacks that are converted wide receivers. They're good athletes. So we'll see where they go there. Now, as far as the defense goes for the New England Patriots, they don't have the same kind of personnel. Not saying that they don't have anybody on defense, but it's just not the it's not the I don't know. It's not the same guys that pop out. I know Malcolm Butler's had a great season. He will not be. I don't see them putting him one-on-one with Julio Jones. I just don't see that. They'll probably put him on Mohamed Sanu and try again. That's their thing. Then you take probably Devin McCourtney, put him on with the safety over top, whatever side he's on Julio Jones. So you're paying, you're putting Malcolm Butler and man on Mohamed Sanu. And then what do you do with Gabriel? They'll probably mix it up between safeties, nickels, dimes, and linebackers is where they're going to try to work with him. As far as the tight end, we'll see. It's kind of some more of the same situation where they handle the H, the tight end, the Z, and the slot guy. So we'll see. This Patriots defense doesn't have any guys that are what you would say is outstanding, big names. The previous Super Bowl champion Patriots kind of in the similar light. The big difference is we learned who they were, and their contracts were still manageable. So they were big names the second and third time around. Patrick Chung, he's well known in the league. Malcolm Butler's created a name for himself. Dante Hightower, he's been able to he's been in there, has made his made his mark. Chris Long is kind of bumped around the league a little bit, but he's known by average the average NFL fan. The big thing for this game is going to be time of possession. All right. So, Alan Branch and Malcolm Brown have huge tasks on them. They have to be able to mush in that pocket because what Matt Ryan does is, you have you can see here kind of the follow. It says follow up here. If you're watching on YouTube live, follow, it says follow. That's what the place is. It says follow. Nice, huh? But what he does is if you can picture a C, the letter C, and at the middle, letter C kind of on its side where the open end is down, okay? The center of that C is the center. That's the pocket, all right? That's the pocket that's created. So what Matt Ryan likes to do is he likes to sit at the mouth of the C that's towards the bottom, let the defensive ends wrap around, and then he moves up into the pocket, into the C, to where he can then throw over the top or wherever he needs to go. Again, he's 6'5", 6'6". He's tall. So, you add that plus another another 2.5 feet for his arm. So we're talking about, his arm is, it's up there. So, it's that's why when we're coming up on the draft and scouts are looking at quarterbacks, that's why they like the taller quarterbacks, because a lot of these offensive linemen are 6'2", 6'6", 6'8", 6'10". They're tall, so you got to be able to see over the top of them and throw over the top of them. So those are a few of the things that are obstacles for some. Matt Ryan, he's able to kind of. I heard some people say he's a taller, younger Drew Brees, which I'm not going to give him that, but he is really accurate. And he has been able to do a lot this season. Kyle Shanahan, who will be the head coach this coming year out in San Francisco. He does a good job of mixing stuff up as well. So, and he has a lot of weapons to his disposal. But this defense is going to have to bring it in. Their rookie backup there at defensive tackle, he's kind of moves in between there, between nose and tackle. Vincent Valentine has done a good job. He's good at holding up the line of attack, so you're not doing a lot of running up the field on him. Malcolm Brown and Alan Branch have done commendable jobs as well. So mushing that pocket in is going to be a big key. Now, from what I understand, they want to get Bartavius Mingo in this game a little bit more to try to get him, pushing him in as an edge rusher, and bringing him in. He could be a different factor too. Again, he's a second line guy behind Shane McClellan, who's played pretty well. He's been in the league for 5 years, so he's got kind of that a little bit of edge up on him. But we'll probably see Bartavius Mingo at some point in this game to create some more pressure for them. But that's really where I'm looking at for the defense. If that front four or front five, whatever they can do, if they can get there with 3 or 4, the Patriots are in a good situation. It's just they have a lot of weapons for Atlanta. Speaking of the weapons for Atlanta, they do have, a really good combination between Coleman and Freeman as running backs. Very efficient, they run well, they catch well, they can do a lot with them. I've already talked to an extent about Mohamed Sanu, how he's dynamic. Gabriel is going to be one of those X factors as well, and Julio Jones, of course. So I've kind of mixed in some of that offense. The defense for the Falcons is going to be key. Being able to play more man, be able to play, stick to your assignments, play assignment football, be able to be in the right place at the right time without doing too much anticipating. Tom Brady, again, they don't have a lot of tendencies, so you're going to see some things on film that might look one thing, but they know you have 3 rookies starting and one that's also playing, so they're going to try to confuse those guys. They most definitely will. So this is one of the reasons why I've seen some saying that the line could be all the way up, could be up to 6, 7, or 9 even, because of that fact. But there's a lot of good veterans on this defense. There's veterans on this defense. and good players. So they have a really filled out, balanced roster on defense, and they can get to the quarterback. They were able to get there against Rodgers, and we saw Pittsburgh get there against Brady. So I believe that they can get there. If they can get the pressure on him, he's going to have to stick to slow in front of him. But I think that they're anticipating that. Uh, the factor for this game will be time of possession. Don't expect them to really air it out. I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots decide to take the air out of the ball, put it on the ground. Like I said, that's why I think the Patriots are going to have more rushing yards than the Falcons. They're going to try to keep it methodical, take plays away from a high-powered offense, change that tempo. Make Matt Ryan sit on the bench and not get into a rhythm. Like, avoid him getting into a rhythm. He's great when he's a lot about timing. He's very accurate. He's very momentum. When he gets in his flow, he's in it. So whatever you can do to mess up that mojo, they're going to have to try to do that. As far as matchups, I think the Falcons create more matchup issues than the Patriots do. It's a fair line. It's still at 3. We might see it move a little before the game. The over-under is at 59. It's kind of moved 59, 59 and a half. I would take the under. I don't think it's going to be this high-scoring game unless the Falcons start to run away with it up front. So, I mean, to get 30 points out of each team, I think that's going to be tough, especially from what I'm seeing is the Patriots are going to try to slow this tempo down, keep it close, and score whenever they can, because a long drive in the first quarter with a field goal, that's a huge win. That's almost like 2 touchdowns for the Patriots, just because they kept the Falcons offense off the field. So my pick for the game, though, I would pick, if we said straight up, I would say Falcons win. Patriots are fair on the spread. It's tough for gamblers. It's tough for bookmakers. 3 points is not a lot. It's not a lot of wiggle room. Vegas, I think, is being very careful. The money's not pushing the line, and some casinos say, $500,000 is kind of where they'd have to start even thinking about it. So I don't expect it to move a whole lot. If it does, it will do on Sunday. It'll move on Sunday if it moves. When the big fish start swimming. So, good luck. Good luck with that. This is, again, why I'll take my money and I'll play games, entertainment, but I'm not a gambler. I don't know. I'm not big. I'm not a big gambler, but I do have a lot of friends that are. I do read about it. I stay up on it. So like I said, if you're looking for a good side bet, take the Patriots having more rushing yards than the Falcons. If I was placing a bet, I would pick the Falcons to win straight up. I don't know what the odds are on it. So go with where your odds are. If you're a gambler, you're going to know. But despite odds, what I would say, who I think is going to win or lose, despite if they cover or not, I pick the Falcons. Here's a little bit of information, though. The teams that are favored with a 3-point spread have almost always won and covered. And the Patriots are, one of those teams that have won and covered the spread. So we're going to have to see where some things are going. About 66% of the bets put in have been towards the Patriots. About 63% of the money that's been collected has been for the Patriots. So about 2/3 of people think the Patriots are going to win. You know, I'm more on the end of, I think the Falcons have more to provide as in matchup issues for the Patriots. It's just, are the Patriots going to out scheme them? I think the Falcons can get there like Pittsburgh did. I think they can get there like they did. But are the linebackers and this, defensive backs in a position where that short scheming that they do and the running and the short passes, the slants, the rub routes, is that going to wear on the Atlanta defense? That's where my question is. How do they handle it? If Atlanta can create turnovers, that puts them in a better situation because that gets some of that time of possession back. So the team that wins the time of possession could ultimately be the deciding factor who wins the game. And I still think the Patriots will have more rushing yards. So I'm overtime tonight. I appreciate all of you listening in. It's been great. I enjoy you guys listening in and watching in every day. Again, go over to the website, thechtonsports.com. You can see all the articles and stuff we have up over there. After I get off this show, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to take my laptop with me, put together some more content while I'm in bed, and To the Half is the handle, the show. You can reach me at Matt Long Sports. And we'll be back. I'll be back on Monday for this show. If you follow me at Matt Long Sports, I will be tweeting during the game. Tweet at me, whatever, however you want to reach out to me, I'm available. Well, I'm reachable, put it that way. So that's all I got for tonight. I'm out.